The Blackwood Inn stood alone on a fog-shrouded hill, hidden from the world by twisted trees and perpetual mist. Its windows stared out like empty eyes, and the air was thick with secrets. Devin, desperate for a summer job to pay for college, answered an ad for a night clerk. The pay was good, the hours perfect. As he arrived, the inn loomed out of the fog, larger and more ominous than he'd imagined. Inside, shadows danced in the dim light, and the silence pressed in. Mr. Alastair, the weary manager, hired Devin on the spot and handed him a heavy ring of brass keys. Check in late guests, answer the phone, keep the doors locked, he instructed quietly. But as Devin took the keys, Mr. Alastair's voice dropped to a whisper. There's one room you must never, ever go near. He paused, eyes dark. Room 313. The warning hung in the air, heavier than the fog outside. Devin nodded, uneasy, as the inn seemed to close in around him. Mr. Alastair leaned in, his face grave in the lamplight. Stay away from room 313. It's always locked. Don't try to open it. Don't even stand near it. Do you understand? Devin nodded, the seriousness in Alastair's eyes silencing any questions. The manager's fear was palpable, as if he'd seen something he could never forget. Just pretend the room doesn't exist, Alastair finished, before disappearing into his office. Alone in the vast lobby, Devin felt the inn watching him. The warning echoed in his mind, curiosity and dread intertwining. He glanced at the brass keys, wondering if one fit the forbidden door. Determined to keep the job, he promised himself he'd follow the rules. But as he settled in with his books, the silence grew heavier. The grandfather clock ticked, each second amplifying his isolation. Shadows seemed to shift, and Devin couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. His eyes drifted to the staircase, to the darkness above. The mystery of room 313 had already taken root, and the night was just beginning. The first nights passed in silence. No guests, no calls, just Devin and the ticking clock. He tried to ignore the inn's oppressive quiet, convincing himself the manager's warning was just superstition. But on the fourth night, the fog pressed tighter and the silence felt alive. At 3:12 a.m., Devin yawned, glancing at the clock. Then, as the clock chimed the quarter hour, a sound echoed from above. Knock, knock, knock. The soft, deliberate rhythm froze him in place. It came from upstairs, from the end of a long, dark hallway. He told himself it was just the building settling, but the next night it happened again, precisely at 3:13 a.m. Knock, 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 not pipes, not wood, a knuckle on a door. Devin's blood ran cold. He stood at the foot of the stairs, staring into the darkness. The knocking stopped, but its echo lingered. He knew with a certainty that chilled him the sound came from the third floor, from room 313, and it was waiting. The knocking became a nightly ritual. 3 soft knocks at 3:13 a.m., drifting down from the darkness above. Devin dreaded the hour, feeling less alone and more watched with each passing night. Curiosity warred with fear until, one night, he grabbed a flashlight and climbed the grand staircase. The third floor was colder, narrower, and filled with a heavy sadness. At the end of the hallway, he found the door. Room 313. He didn't need to see the number. He felt it. A strange energy radiated from the door, sorrowful and lonely. As he stepped closer, a sudden draft chilled him. Then a faint rustle, like silk. He froze, listening. A whisper, barely audible, seemed to sigh in his mind. "Help me." Terror overwhelmed him. Devin fled, stumbling down the stairs, heart pounding. The whisper echoed in his thoughts. The inn's secret was no longer just a story. Devin couldn't shake the whisper. "Help me." The knocking was no longer just noise, it was a plea. He needed answers. During the day, he searched the inn's back office, digging through dusty files. At last, he found an old guest log from decades ago. Flipping through brittle pages, he found it. Room 313, autumn 1985. Guest, Eliza Mae. Young woman, traveling alone. The log noted she never checked out, just departed without notice. A chill ran through Devin. Was Eliza the one knocking? The one whispering for help? The official record said she left, but Devin knew she hadn't. She was still here, trapped behind the locked door, waiting. The logbook gave Devin a name, but not the truth. He sought out Martha, the inn's housekeeper, for over 40 years. When he mentioned room 313, her face clouded with fear. "We don't talk about that room," she whispered, hands trembling. Devin pressed, telling her about the knocking and the name he'd found. At Eliza Mae, Martha's eyes filled with tears. "Poor child. I found her room empty. Her things were still there. People don't just leave without their things." Martha revealed Eliza had waited alone for her family, who were delayed by a storm. One morning she was gone. The police found nothing. The night she vanished was the first night the knocking started. Martha said, voice shaking. "It's her. She's trapped in there and she's lonely." Devin's suspicion was confirmed. Eliza's spirit was still in the inn. The knocking was her call for help. And now Devin was the only one listening. The weight of the secret pressed down on him. Martha's story haunted Devin. He searched the inn for more clues, desperate to help Eliza. One night, his flashlight found a forgotten portrait in a shadowy sitting room. A young woman with sad eyes and a hopeful smile. Eliza. The painted eyes seemed to follow him, pleading silently. For a moment, her smile faded, replaced by terror. Devin blinked and the painting was normal again, but the image was burned into his mind. Eliza wasn't just sad, she was afraid, and something in room 313 had made her that way. The nightly knocking became personal. Eliza was calling for Devin. Determined, he decided to enter room 313. On the 7th night, after the knocks faded, he took the brass keys and climbed to the 3rd floor. The hallway felt colder than ever, the air thick with anticipation. At the door, he tried key after key. None worked. Desperate, he turned the knob. It opened easily. A wave of cold, musty air washed over him. The room was pitch black, the scent of old perfume and decay lingering. Mr. Allister and Martha had insisted the door was always locked, but now it was open, waiting for him. It felt like an invitation or a trap. Devin stepped inside room 313, heart pounding. The room was frozen in 1985. Eliza's suitcase, her coat, a book left open. Dust covered everything except a small, clear spot on the bedside table. A digital clock glowed, 3:12 a.m. Devin's watch read nearly 3:20. As he stared, the clock flipped to 3:13. Knock, knock, knock. The sound thundered from inside the room's door. Devin spun, but no one was there. The clock reset, 3:12. Again, the minute ticked by, and the knocking returned. He was trapped, reliving the moment Eliza vanished. Panic surged. He pounded on the door, screamed for help, but the silence swallowed his cries. A cold presence filled the room. Eliza's sorrow, her fear. The room wasn't haunted by her. It was haunting her, and now Devin too. Devin never came home. His parents called the police, who questioned Mr. Alastair at the inn. The manager claimed Devin had left without notice, just like Eliza Mae years before. The police found nothing. Devin had vanished. After they left, Mr. Alastair climbed to the 3rd floor and stood before room 313. He didn't try to open it. He just whispered, "I'm sorry, son." She chooses one every few years, someone who listens. She gets so lonely. The room was a supernatural prison, feeding on loneliness, trapping new victims to keep Eliza company. Mr. Alastair could only warn people and hope they listened. Devin hadn't. That night, a new guest checked into room 213. At 3:13 a.m., he woke to 3 soft knocks outside his door. The hallway was empty. The next night, another guest heard it. The knocking was spreading, no longer confined to the 3rd floor. With Devin gone, a new silence fell over room 313. But the lonely sound echoed through the inn, searching for someone else who would listen. The Blackwood Inn story was far from over. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the chilling tale of room 313, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more haunting stories every week. And remembered, if you hear knocking at 3:13 a.m., don't answer.